today's topic of discussion: how to develop a better mindset and take 100% responsibility for your life. Here's a quick question, all right, to begin the conversation. How many of us in this broadcast, or even those watching this on the replay, how many of us can honestly say, I'm not operating at 100% right now? Comment below, like raise your hand, put a number one in the comments, say, yeah, that's me. Like if you were truly honest with yourself and it's you and only you, and you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're holding yourself accountable, how many of us can say, there's some areas in my life where I can be better? There's some things in my life that I can be greater at. There's some gifts, there's some talents, there's some ideas that I'm not pursuing, some visions that I have that I'm not working towards. How many of us can honestly say, man, D1, I'm there, I fall into that category. I'm not operating at 100%. I see some hands being raised, right? I see them. I'm right there. I'm with you. Excellent. That's why it's important for us to be in this conversation. Okay. In fact, comment below, family, 100%. Today, the mission that I have with this conversation is to provide us with the tools that will equip us in being empowered, making empowered decisions day in and day out. In fact, making decisions that keep us in alignment with our vision, our purpose, and our goals. My objective with today's conversation is to develop a new level of awareness for every single person that's tapped into this conversation, to be more in sync with yourself, with your mindset, with your belief systems, with the emotions that are influencing you, and the perspective that you have that is shaping your life, right? Now, another part of the objective is for us to call ourselves out. And the way we need to call ourselves out is that we need to hold ourselves accountable to do what we've been created to do, to live the life that we truly desire, right? To experience the life of abundance and prosperity and ultimate wealth, to experience all that life has to offer. Because here's the thing, right? Many of us raised our hand and said, D1, I admit, I'll go ahead and express this. I'm not operating at 100%. Maybe you're at 75, maybe you're at 60, maybe you're at 45, whatever the case may be, you're not operating to the fullness of your potential. And that's okay, but it's not okay. And it's not okay because we're missing out on opportunities, but it is okay because it's a learning moment for each and every single one of us. And it's up to us to take this lesson so that we can level up. Makes sense, family? Put a number one in the comment section if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Number one in the comment section if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Give me a little time, y'all. Just a little time during today's conversation because I want to dive deep. Monday, we kind of scratched the surface on many mindset shifts, but today I want to dive deep into some practical steps and some tools that we can each implement to help us own our life. Got you. There we go. So the objective, again, is to put you in a position where you're not looking outside the window to find the answer, but instead you're looking in the mirror and you're holding that man or that woman accountable to make up your mind. This is what I want. This is what I desire. This is what I'm aiming to accomplish. And I am going to own it because here's the truth about who you are. I don't care where you've come from. Doesn't matter what you're currently facing. Doesn't matter what your life currently looks like. I need you to understand that you have always had the power. You've always had the capacity and the ability to initiate positive change in your life. I know sometimes it doesn't feel like it, right? I know sometimes it doesn't seem like it. I know sometimes the odds may be stacked against you and it may be difficult and it may be challenging, but you have always carried the power and the capacity to make things better, to get your life right, to improve any circumstance or any situation that you may be in. You carry the power and the capacity to initiate positive change in your life. But what's needed and what's absolutely required is you got to own your life. Comment below, family, own your life. Own your life. In essence, you got to take full responsibility for the life that you are living. Now, let me put this quick caveat into this conversation just to bring this up. What we're going to talk about is personal accountability during today's conversation. Now, granted, I get it, and I'm not desensitizing myself to many things that may happen in our life, right? A lot of times things may happen to us, right? People may do us wrong. People may actually manipulate our trust. People may violate us in many ways. But what I'm saying in this conversation, I'm not desensitizing myself to those things, but what I am communicating is this. What may have happened is not your fault. It may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. Oh, yeah, we're going to go there this evening. It may not have been your fault. What may have happened, the environment that you're currently in, the situation that took place, that condition that you found yourself in, that may have not been your fault, but it is your responsibility, right? In other words, like, I may have been born into a situation where I'm impoverished, or my financial situation may not be the best, but it is my responsibility to rise above that circumstance and create wealth for myself. Like the situation that I was born in, right? The neighborhood that I grew up in, I didn't have any control in that. But I am capable of responding in a way where I can create a better environment for myself and my future and the people that I'm destined to serve. It may not have been your fault, but it is your responsibility, which leads me into the question and asking us, like, what hinders us from taking full responsibility in our lives? What truly stops many people? Because we're all gifted. Don't get it twisted. We all carry unique capabilities. We all have some great talents. You have some form of expertise, and you have the capability to transform your life for the better. But what stops many people from taking full responsibility for their life? I'm going to list a few things. And as I list a few things, I want you to begin to reflect on maybe what category you find yourself in. Like, take a self-assessment, take a moment to self-reflect and to begin to distinguish and identify what category you find yourself in that may be stunting your growth or inhibiting your progress in life. And here's another thing, as I'm mentioning these categories, what I encourage us to do, again, comment below the title of this category. I want you to be engaged in this conversation. Again, I want this to be imprinted within our mindset so we can take these tools, not only just hear them, but apply them to who we are so we can show up more effectively as we move forward. So again, what hinders many people and neglects them or puts them in a position where they're neglecting to take full responsibility for their life? Number one is this. Comment below, lack of identity. Lack of identity. For many people, they're unaware of their ability to change their life for the better, right? And many people that fall into this category, what they often do is they own the title of a victim, right? They're a victim of a situation that happened, or a victim of what someone did to them, or a victim of their circumstances. And I need us to hear me clearly. We're not victims of circumstances. We are creators of circumstances. So again, number one, the lack of identity. Number two, the lack of awareness. And these are they that don't realize the areas in their life where they're underperforming or they're missing out on opportunities. And you may be in a position where you're thriving in many ways in areas of your life, but you may be missing out on some areas of growth or some things you can do in a phenomenal way simply because you don't have the awareness of how you can improve in many aspects of your life. So therefore, you're not owning your life completely, right? Like, you may have your career all together, but your relationships are suffering, right? Or maybe you're earning or accumulating a huge amount of money, right? And your finances are where they need to be, but physically, your health is suffering. And you're unaware of these areas in your life that are not reaching the full potential. And in some cases that are deteriorating in many ways because of the lack of awareness. Number three, many people lack taking full responsibility for their life because of fear. Comment below, fear. feeling intimidated or unsure if they can handle the pressure of doing something different or really owning their life and everything that comes with it, them putting themselves out there, what other people may think. There's a fear that's involved with that. The next one is the need that many people have to be right. I see my boy Koi's in the building. Salute to you, brother. The need to be right. In essence, they're closed minded to other people's perspectives and feedback, right? You got it all figured out. You think you have it all together. And because you feel as if you have it all together, you don't have an open mind to be open to other possibilities or other ways or methods to do things. So here you find yourself in this cycle where you're creating the same results, and in many ways, not the results that you want, but because you have it all figured out, you're not open to new processes, new systems, or new approaches to creating the change that you desperately want. You got to disrupt that mentality. Next one is this: low levels of accountability. I need somebody to type that in the comment section, if you will, please. Low levels of accountability. In essence, you're okay with a mediocre approach to life. Like, I'm good. I'm good where I am. I'm okay with it, right? I remember when I was in college, right? I was working at this organization, and these individuals were a little older. And this is before technology really began to blossom and like all these apps begin to develop. We were talking about how innovation was occurring, and they were like, man, I'm never gonna mess with no computers. I'm not fooling with that. I don't know how to use them. I can never acquire that skill, right? They're good where they're at. They're good where they're at. And because they're not willing to learn new skills, because they're not willing to expand themselves, they're not taking full and complete ownership of their life, and therefore they're missing out on opportunities. And they may find themselves in a position, right, where a computer takes over their job, and now they have nothing to work with because they've never invested time to develop the skills of the modern times. Who am I talking to this evening? Again, low levels of accountability. The next one is this. This may hit somebody. The need to feel safe. You're lacking the ability to take full responsibility for your personal life because you're yearning for comfort and you're protecting it, right? You want more. You desire greater, but you have this unwillingness to step outside of your comfort zone. There's this low ambition, there's a lack of desire because the thought of you disrupting your normal scares you and terrifies you. Then the last one that I want to talk about. Many people don't take full responsibility for their life simply because they're choosing not to exercise this power. These are they that operate with the mindset, what I like to call the it is what it is mentality. Yeah, it is what it is. Whatever life throws at me, I'll take it. Even if it's crumbs, I'm just thankful and grateful just to have it, right? Failing to realize that there's more out there that you can do, there's greater that you can become, there's more extraordinary things that you can achieve. You got to disrupt that thought pattern, that desire to say it is what it is. Instead, adopt the mindset that it is going to be what I make it when you take full responsibility for your life. But here's the interesting thing about this conversation, family, okay? What often happens is that many people may find themselves in one of those categories, but simultaneously, what they're doing is this, right? They're complaining and unhappy about a situation that they find themselves in, but they're unwilling to do the things that are necessary to create the results that they want. Now, mind you, let me give us this key insight, okay? In order for you to complain about something or even someone, you have to believe that there's something out there that is better that exists, right? In other words, to complain about a situation or a circumstance, that's an indication that you are fully aware that there is a reference point of something that you would prefer, but you're unwilling to take responsibility for creating it. It's interesting to me, family, that we often complain about the very things that we can change, that we can improve. We complain about situations and circumstances that, in their very nature, they're situations that we can actually enhance in our life, but we decide not to, right? We decide not to make a difference. And here's why: we often become so conditioned with our behavior patterns, or so programmed to be accustomed to our normal, our routines, our habits, the life that we've grown accustomed to. And what happens is this: we begin to isolate ourselves in that moment, in that circumstance, complain about things. And because we're unwilling to take the necessary steps to create the positive change, here's what we do next: we start blaming. We start blaming. Yeah, we blame situations, and we blame circumstances. We even blame people as to why we're not where we want to be, to justify why we're not taking action. Come on, let's take it there this evening, y'all. Let's take it there this evening. I want to help us evolve and grow. And I'm talking to myself just as much as I'm talking to you this evening, okay? We blame people, right? You may blame your parents, you may blame your boss, you may blame your kids, your coworkers, you may blame your clients, your customers. You may blame your spouse as to why you're not moving forward. You may blame the weather is too hot, it's too cold. You may blame the economy. You may blame inflation as to why you're not executing, why you're not taking the necessary steps. You're blaming your lack of resources. You're blaming your bank account, right? You're blaming your lack of connections. You're blaming your lack of education. The list can go on and on and on what we are blaming to justify why we are not taking action. And here's why it's very easy for us, family, to continue to blame. Because placing the blame on others, or even placing the blame on external circumstances, is easy, because placing blame does not require you to grow. Like, it doesn't require any dedication to blame something. It doesn't require any commitment for you to blame a situation. It doesn't require any investment of your energy or your time or your effort to blame a person. It's easy to blame situations and circumstances because we don't have to grow. We don't have to hold ourselves accountable. We can simply say, that's why I'm not where I want to be. Because of this person and what they did or what they said, this is why I'm not living the life that I envision. Because of the way the economy is set up, or because of the things that are happening in my environment, this is why I'm not moving my life forward. And what we fail to realize is this, family, and I'm hoping we're grasping this concept. When you blame people and you blame circumstances, what you're doing is you're giving your power away. In other words, what you're saying is, I have no power over this circumstance or situation, and that's what's holding me back. You guys know I'm a man of faith, but somewhere I read, I said, greater is he that is within you than he that's within the world. In essence, you're bigger and better than your circumstance. You're greater and more extraordinary than your environment. So by you blaming your circumstance or environment, you're giving your power away. And because you're not operating with your personal power, that's why you feel stuck. That's why you're in the same place that you've always been, because you've developed the habit of blaming. Can we go a little deeper? Put a number 1 in the comment section, family. If we can go just a little deeper to unpack what's really behind us blaming situations and circumstances and avoiding taking action and executing on a consistent basis. Can we really go there this evening? Can we really go there? Let me put some comments up. Take the responsibility off of us, and we can detach from it for sure. I'm better than my circumstance. R said, keep going, keep going, keep going. Again, don't forget to share this out with the people that you care about, family. Somebody needs to hear this. Back to the topic at hand. This is really why we blame situations and circumstances. We blame things that are outside of us because we're running away from growth, running away from ourselves, running away from our greater potential. And here's why. Like, the desire for all of us is to improve our situations, is to enhance our life, is to grow and to scale, is to build things that we envision, is to live the life that excites us, that makes us feel alive and thriving in our existence. And when we're full of the fulfillment and deep enjoyment in the things that we do and who we are. But what stops us from creating that are two things, right? In order to create those things, you have to be willing to take a risk, and you have to be willing, follow along with me, family, on this, to change. Comment below, take the risk and change your life. Take the risk and change your life. Now, we have to understand, here's why it's hard for us to do those two things. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing or what the actual outcome is going to be. When you take a risk, you're putting yourself in a position where you're subjecting yourself to being alone, right? Or maybe even being ridiculed or judged by others. When you take a risk, there's a possibility of some type of conflict, some type of confrontation, some possibility or probability that you may be wrong, or in some cases, you're positioning yourself to potentially experience some form of failure. When you take a risk, you may be positioning yourself to be disapproved by others. So naturally, we run away from taking a risk. We avoid it. And the same is true with change. We often avoid change because we understand that change requires sacrifice. It requires effort. It requires time. It requires energy. It requires you dedicating yourself to create the necessary change. And because we naturally have this desire to be comfortable, because we have this natural desire to seek out the things that promote pleasure, we avoid taking a risk because we associate it with pain. We avoid making the necessary changes because we associate it with pain. But in order for us to truly take our lives to the next level, you got to own every aspect of that experience. You got to own that vision. You have to own that desire. You got to own that goal or that dream. And you have to embrace taking the risk. You have to be willing to disrupt your normal to create what can be. In essence, you have to be willing to change, because a change in your life, it starts with the change within you. So when you find yourself in those situations when you're complaining about a circumstance and you're unhappy with where you are, you got two options. Number one is this. You can either acknowledge that you're unwilling to take the risk and to change your life and accept it for what it is and take full responsibility of it, and then stop complaining about it. Because what complaining does is complaining kills appreciation, right? The more and more you complain about things, what that's doing is it's diminishing your quality of life, because you're no longer focused on the things that bring you fulfillment or the things that you're happy about or the things that stimulate appreciation in life, because you're overwhelmed and consumed by the things that you're complaining about. So it's diminishing, again, the quality of your overall life. So either you're just going to accept the fact that I'm not going to make the changes, I'm not taking the risk, and I'm not going to complain about it. Or you can take the second choice, which is you can take full responsibility for your life and make up your mind. I'm going to create the life that I envision. There's some things in my life that I no longer am going to tolerate. There's some things in my life that I do not accept. And I'm going to own my life. I'm going to own my existence. I'm going to own my future and make the necessary changes and take the risk to build the life that I envision. I'm talking to somebody this evening. Maybe you're in a difficult situation right now. It's been extremely challenging for you, and you've been pointing the finger in all different directions. It's time for you to point the finger at the man or the woman that you are and hold yourself accountable and make up your mind. Today's the day. Enough is enough. I'm drawing the line right here. I'm going to make a difference. I can't accept where I am right now. I'm better than this. I'm greater than that. I can't live my life in fear when I've been destined for something amazing. I can't continue to talk myself out of doing things when I got something special on the inside of me. The days of me operating with low self-esteem and me moving around with lack of confidence, they got to be over. Today, I'm going to own my life. I'm not going to blame that situation where I failed and made a mistake as to why I show up the way that I do. I'm not going to blame that person that talked me into doing certain things where I made some mistakes in my past as to why I am who I am now. I'm not going to blame my father not being in my life, right? I'm not going to blame my grandmother for not supporting me in the way that I wanted her to. I'm not going to blame my spouse, right, for not seeing the vision in the way that I saw it. But instead, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to own my vision. I'm going to own my life, and I'm going to take the risk to build the life that I envision. And I'm going to embrace the changes that I have to make in order for me to create it. That's where we're at. If you're following along, put a number 1 in the comment section. If you're picking up what I'm putting down in this conversation, put a number 1 in the comment section. I'm destined for something amazing, Sheila. Jay Mitch is in the building. I think I've been holding myself accountable, but maybe I can do more for sure. Alicia said, calling me out. Andrea's in the building. Great day to you. Excellent. Here's what we got to do, family. Okay. Comment below. Focus on your response. Focus on your response. Let's go even deeper with this. Here's where we can get the practical tools to begin to apply to our day-to-day life. I want to pull this concept. This is from Jack Canfield, phenomenal author, great individual in the personal development space, where he has this concept that's built off of events, response, and outcomes. The ERO concept. You guys are probably familiar with this. I probably should have had my dry erase board for this. Maybe the next session we'll have it out so I can paint the picture and make it plain, right? But in this concept, he talks about how the basic idea that every outcome that we experience in life is the result of how we responded to an earlier event that took place or the events that happen in our life. And he also describes that if you don't like the outcomes that you are currently getting, then there's basically 2 choices that you have. What you can do is you can blame the event or the outcomes, or excuse me, you can blame the outcomes on the event, right? Again, I wish I had my dry erase board so we can see this. But he's describing how you can blame what happened and what took place as to why you're experiencing the results or the outcomes in your life. You can blame a situation that took place in your life, right, that didn't align with your expectations. And then you're holding the results and the outcomes and saying, this is why I got what I got. Because the economy fell through the cracks. Because I lost my job, right? Because nobody believed in me. Because some person did something and therefore it threw me off. I wasn't in my right mind. And now I got what I've got. And when we do that, family, we're stuck in that situation because we can't control the events that happen in our life. In all truthfulness, the only thing that we can control in that formula is one thing. You can't control the events, and you really don't have direct control on the outcomes. But what you have direct control on is your response. Your response. And that's the second choice that you can make. Instead of focusing on the event that took place and blaming the event for the outcomes, you focus on your response, what you did, right? So maybe, for instance, right, you have a goal. You want to be in the best shape of your life. You want to change your physique. You've got some fitness goals that you're aiming to accomplish and achieve, and you're looking to make sure that your body is where it wants to be. You're looking to invest in your physical health, and you want to be healthy and vibrant and strong and robust and full of energy. So you start this new workout program. You even hire a trainer, and you work at it for 3 months, right? And by the end of those 3 months, you're looking at your outcomes, and then you're frustrated of the outcomes and then focusing on the event or even the experience and blaming that as to why you're not where you want to be. But in reality, it was you that was taking days off. Like it was you that made up your mind, hold on, I'm going to get a cheat day, but a cheat day turned into a cheat week. It was you that was cutting corners during your workouts. It was you that didn't follow the meal plan that your trainer gave you. And by you now focusing on the response, you can look at what you did to cause the event and the outcome to be what it was. Maybe, for instance, you're looking at your business model, right? And you're aiming to succeed at this idea that you have. And then you're frustrated at the outcomes and the results that you're getting. And you're blaming the industry. You're saying it doesn't work. It's not possible. But in reality, what's happening is somebody is thriving in that industry. So they're doing something that you're not doing. They're making sacrifices that you are not making. They're making the necessary changes and adjustments and navigating their day to day effectively in ways that you are not. But as long as you blame the event on the outcome, you'll never make the necessary change on your response. Maybe it's you that's not putting yourself out there, that's not promoting your business. Maybe it's you that's not providing the best value that you truly can. Maybe it's you that's not heavy on the follow-up. Maybe it's you that's not working diligently to be better at your craft and be the best at what you do. There's a different mindset that you begin to adopt when you focus on your response. Now, let me break down what the response is made of, because this is where we're going to get the personal transformation, family. Again, we can't control what's happening in our environment. We can't control what's happening in the economy. We can't control what's happening in our circumstances or our situations. We can't put our hand on everything. But what we can control is how we respond to life. And I want to place an emphasis on the word respond, because what most people do is they react to life instead of responding to it. There's a difference between the two of those. Now, we can go into a conversation on emotional intelligence, but that's later on in the master class in the future. Because what most people do is they allow their emotions to make their decisions for them. So they're reacting to a circumstance. And if I'm not in control of my response and my decisions, I may not end up in the place that I'm aiming to be. We allow our anger and our frustration and our discouragement to make our day-to-day decisions, and then we're upset about the results that we get. Hear me clearly. You can't allow a temporary emotion to make a permanent decision in your life. You'll miss out on opportunities. This is why we have to actively work at responding to our circumstances. Again, we'll dive into that in a later masterclass on emotional intelligence. But as it relates to today, how do we respond effectively? I'm glad you asked, Coy. We respond effectively by understanding that we can only control three things in any given situation. Number one, you always get to control what you focus on. Number two, you always can control the meaning that you attach to any given situation or experience. And then number three, you are always in control of the decision that you make in that moment. So how do we respond effectively? You've got to master your mindset and focus on the things that support your vision, your purpose, and your goals. And in that same token, you also have to look at your situation in an empowering way based upon the meaning that you attach to that experience. Two people can look at the same situation in the same scenario and attach two different meanings to them and have a different outcome. One person may see the difficulty, another person may see an opportunity. And the meaning that they attach to that experience will dictate the decision that they make in that moment. Is this making sense, family? Put a number one in the comment section. So in order for us to respond to life effectively, we have to protect our focus and decide to direct it towards things, again, that support the life that you're aiming to experience. And then number two, make sure you're putting yourself in an emotional state that will help you show up effectively. And that's going to be driven by the meaning that you attach to that particular situation or circumstance. And after gathering all of that information, now you can make a sound decision because you've placed mind over matter. And it doesn't matter what's happening in your environment, right? Because you've started to master your mindset to the point that you have suspended reality. You're aware of the circumstance. You're aware of the struggle. You're aware of the challenge, but you're not manipulated by it. You're not negatively influenced by it. Your decisions are not driven by it. Instead, you've processed it effectively, right? And now you're in a position where you're able to take an objective view over the entire experience. And now you're strategically identifying, how can I move forward with the decisions that I make? That's how you respond. That's how we respond. And we can take this same formula and apply it to everything that we're working towards, every area of our life, whether it be your personal goals, your career goals, your emotional life, your fitness goals, even your relationships. You being aware of where you're directing your focus, the meaning that you're attaching to the experience, and consciously deciding, this is what I'm going to do to respond. That's how we own our lives. Regardless of what's happening in the world around us, you're asking yourself, how can I profit from misfortune? Where's the value in this experience? How can I rise above this challenge? Because you're effectively navigating everything that you're facing, and you're dissecting it in ways, attaching an empowering meaning to it, taking that information and making decisions that keep you in alignment with your vision, your purpose, and your goals. Let's wrap this up, family. Let's conclude it by saying this. I want to give us a few questions that we can ask ourselves that will help us remain in this position of responding effectively. I have here in my notes, to be powerful, you need to take the position that you create and allow everything that happens to you. You are the one who is creating your life the way that it is. The life that you currently live is a result of all of your past thoughts and your past actions. With that understanding, it's important for us to now become more aware of what we're thinking and how we're behaving. Here's a few questions that you could begin to ask yourself. Please write these down if so. Or better yet, what you can do is subscribe to my newsletter. I'll send these out into a newsletter later on this week. But again, if you're taking notes, I encourage you to do that. But here's a few questions that you can ask yourself that will help you reflect on your thought pattern and how you're showing up day in and day out. Ask yourself questions like, is what I'm doing working? What am I doing that's not working? What am I doing that's working that I need to do more of? Could I be doing it better? Is there something more that I should be doing that I am not doing? Is there something that I'm doing that I should stop doing? Those self-defeating behavior patterns, those negative habits, that self-sabotaging narrative that may be running in your mind. What do you need to eliminate? Then here's a question that is a complete game changer for us. And I promise you, it'll have you looking at yourself differently. Take a moment to ask yourself this very simple but profound question. How am I limiting myself? In what ways am I inhibiting my own growth? In what ways am I stunting my own progress? Or to even take it further, I challenge us, find 3 to 5 people that you know have your best interest in heart, that really want to see you succeed, that truly care about you, and ask them, in what ways do you see me limiting myself? In what ways am I neglecting to connect with my true potential? And ask people that are going to keep it real with you. Hey, you're gifted in this area, but this is something that you keep neglecting. That idea that you shared with me a few years ago, I believe that you can make that happen. But the challenge is you don't believe in it. You want to connect with people. They're going to help you be at your best. Connect with people that challenge you to grow and improve and to tap into your greater potential. I don't want to be surrounded by people that say, hey, D1, good luck. No, surround me with people that say, D1, never give up. In those moments when my back is up against the wall and I feel like quitting, and I'm allowing my emotions to take over in that moment, and I'm talking about, hey, I'm not doing it again. I'm never going after it. Hey, I'm done trying. I'm not making another attempt. I need somebody to pull me by my shirt and say, D1, somebody's counting on you. You need to keep pushing. D1, you got to dig a little deeper. There's more in you. D1, you got to keep fighting. This got your name on it. Don't give up what's yours. Surround yourself with people that help you grow, develop, and improve. And I mentioned these particular questions, family, all because the answers to those questions will help you respond more effectively. And remember, that's the essence of us taking full responsibility of our life. Let's break down the word of responsibility. That's nothing more than having the ability to respond. Life is going to be life, and it's going to throw you whatever it's going to throw, a curveball, a slider, a fastball. Your responsibility is put yourself in the best possible position to thrive in life, having the ability to respond. I'll wrap it up by saying this. There's something special on the inside of you, something great that's at work within you. It's time for you to take full responsibility for what it is that you want. And as you're executing towards your goals and your dreams, pay attention to the feedback that life is giving you. Life will show you the areas where you need to improve. Life will show the areas where you need to add more time and more investment and be more diligent at, right? Areas where you need to grow and develop. But the question is, are you paying attention? Are you paying attention? Results don't lie. Results will indicate how we can be better. How we can be better. Don't focus on the event or even the outcome. Focus on how you can respond to improve that outcome. That's results communicating to you, saying, hey, this is what you can do to improve. This is how you can show up more effectively. And the more and more you do that, the bigger the grip you're going to have on you, your potential, and the life that you are aiming to live. And what is going to be required of you is you making the conscious decision that you're giving up all excuses. That victim mentality and story that you keep telling yourself. Self-defeating and self-sabotaging behavior patterns that you've grown accustomed to, you got to release them. You got to release them. All the reasons why you feel you can't do this, or you can't achieve this, or you can never experience this, or you can never earn this amount of money, or you can never run a company, or you can never be successful at X, Y, Z. All those reasons, you got to release them. You got to release them, because if you don't release them, what's happening is you're not owning your life. You're not taking full responsibility for what you can accomplish. If you don't get anything else out of what we talked about during this conversation, I want us to understand, remember, it's easy for you to blame people and external circumstances simply because placing the blame does not require you to grow. But I challenge you today to make the executive decision. I'm going to grow. I'm going to do what's necessary to live the life that I envision. I'm no longer going to be afraid of what makes me uncomfortable, but instead I'm going to accept the challenge to live my life. I'm talking about living, not just surviving, right? Living full so I can die empty. I want us to take on that mindset. But in order to do that, you got to take full responsibility for your life. If you slid into this broadcast and I was unable to give you a shout out, be sure to comment below. And if this is your first time, or maybe your first time in a long time, put a number 1 in the comment section and I'll be sure to shout you out as well. Again, number 1 in the comment section and I'll be sure to shout you out as well. Went a little longer than anticipated, family, but I'm hoping that it was worth your time and that somebody somewhere found value in this conversation. Appreciate you, Jay Mitch. I'm hoping all is well with you, brother. There we go. I see you. If you found value in this conversation, family, put some fist up in the comment section. Put some fist up in the comment section. Again, let me know that you was picking up what I was putting down. Always worth it, brother. I appreciate that. If you found value, what I want you to do is this. I ask a favor of you. It doesn't cost you anything, and it takes a millisecond to do. Hit that share button, whether you're watching this on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or even Twitter. Twitter is not a share button. Twitter's a retweet button. Hit that retweet button. But all the other platforms, please hit that share button You never know how something that we discussed during today's conversation can enhance somebody's life. They may be in a difficult place or a challenging situation, and something that we discussed during this conversation may be the thing that sparks their mindset to initiate the positive change that they've been envisioning. So please share this out with those that you care about. Everybody watching this on YouTube, please right now hit that like button. Hit that like button. It does a lot for the algorithm. It will send this message out to those that are interested in these topics. I would truly appreciate that. Latoya, you're so very welcome. J Mitch, absolutely, brother. Raiders Raw, absolutely, King. Again, happy birthday to you. Keep celebrating. Enjoy your time. Stay safe and enjoy yourself. Vita, for sure. Appreciate you. Blessings to you as well. Mia, absolutely. Also, family, if we have yet to connect on other platforms, be sure to connect with your boy. If I can find that, I don't know where it's at. I think it's right there. There we go. At D1 Gibson is my handle pretty much on all platforms. ElevationisAmust.com is my website. Take advantage of all the resources that are available on the website. In fact, like I mentioned, be sure to subscribe to the newsletter. I'll send out those questions in that newsletter shortly and soon. And then also take advantage of all the free resources. Again, for free, $99, doesn't cost you a thing. Many mindset resources and guides, habits on developing successful, or not habits, but guides on developing successful habits. And also take advantage of the course that I have available on the website. If you're looking to dive deeper into many things that we talked about during today's conversation, how to reinvent yourself, establishing a personal vision, understanding what your values are, as well as gaining the expertise and the skill set, becoming more aware of your emotions and your thought patterns and how to actively reframe those thought patterns and ways to help you move forward, be sure to tap into that course. And then also, my book, Come Alive, is available on the website as well. So be sure to tap in. Again, elevationisAmust.com. Coy, salute to you again, brother. We got to connect soon, man. Let me know. Daniel's in the building. Great day to you, brother. I'll be in Indy next week. Would love to see you. Got to connect, brother. Hit me up. Let's figure something out. Free 99. Love it for sure. Absolutely. Mia Palmer, thank you. Blessings for sure. With that being said, though, family, let's wrap this thing up. It's Thursday evening. Again, let's conclude today's conversation and discussion. Again, I'm hoping we did find value in our topic of discussion today, but most importantly, what I challenge you to do is to apply what we just discussed. It's not enough just to be inspired. That's not what leads to transformation. What leads to transformation is information, inspiration, but most importantly, application. You combine the two and three of those, and you get transformation. Again, information, inspiration, application, and then you get the transformation. You got to put in the work. You can't just wish for it. You got to work for it. Your actions have to be as big as your ambitions. You have to be in alignment with what you desire, meaning day in and day out, you're doing something to draw closer towards where you ultimately aim to be. So continue to find ways where you can own your life, respond more effectively. What thoughts are driving you? What emotions are influencing you? Identify that so you can respond more effectively to whatever life is throwing at you. We're going to have many more of these Thursday evening mindset sessions. If you guys really enjoyed that, let me know. Let me know what kind of topics you guys want to dive deeper into, some things that you want to discuss. We may do like a Q&A session that can help you be, personally evolved and things that you may be dealing with. Let me know. My goal and my aim is to add value to my community, and I'm hoping I'm doing it in the best way possible. So let me know how I can serve you and provide even more value to you as you are on this never-ending journey to become the best version of yourself. Now, with all of that being said, I'll wrap it up for the fourth or fifth time. I've lost count. It's Thursday. Have a remarkable evening, family. We will be back at it with the Dreamcatchers Worldwide broadcast on Monday morning. That's at 10 a.m. Everybody say that with me. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mark your calendars. Tell a friend. Tell a coworker. Tell somebody that you know, somebody that you love, somebody that you're close to. Have them tap in and join in with us. Latoya, tell the turtle. If you got a dog or a parrot or a cat, Have them join in too. They need the inspiration. They need that motivation, all right? As they're walking on four legs or crawling on tubes, they need that inspiration, all right? A little laughter as we wrap up today's session. But with all of that being said, family, you know what it is. Until we meet again, until we see you on Monday morning, I want you to be effective, be successful, live with some passion, and most importantly, be powerful. Peace, family.